The latest sequel of Shen Hailong, The King of Tarzan, is a hot topic. Since its release, it has been gaining popularity and popularity. The current rating of Dubin is up to 8.9 points. Some people say that it is a gorgeous remake of the old legend. Some people say that it is a perfect comparison of violence and humor. If you like action movies, don't miss it. In the 25 years of prison life, there is no will to destroy Dwight. He has read a lot of literary works in prison. After being released from prison, he enjoys a rich late life. Today is the day he is released from prison. As a black gang veteran, he is waiting for a train. On the way, he saw all kinds of changes on the street. He can't wait to experience this new world. They passed by the former headquarters of the black gang, but they didn't go in. The driver told Dwight that the boss was waiting for him at home. Finally, he came to a luxurious villa. However, there was no warm welcome ceremony. Instead, it was like a wedding banquet. The former boss was already old and weak. The things of the gang had been handed over to his son. Dwight was very surprised. After all, when he was in the prison of the gang, they were just children. Now, these two juniors treat Dwight as a beggar. Dwight is dissatisfied that he has paid for half of his life, but he is pointed by two hairy boys. However, the former boss accepted their behavior. Now the gang doesn't give him a good position. They don't want to fall into the trap of killing donkeys and donkeys. So they gave a remote place to Dwight's father and let him go to Darsa to start a gang. Dwight understood the intention of the other party when he heard this. They just want to exile themselves. He has been in prison for 25 years for the boss, but he still keeps his mouth shut. His wife divorced him because of this. His beloved daughter hasn't spoken to him for 18 years. In order to pay off the gang's debt, he didn't even get the most basic compensation. The young leader next to him still wants to educate Dwight. As a result, Dwight beat him up with a fist. However, he found that Dwight knew he had to stop the damage in time. Now he can't turn against the gang completely. In the end, he still decided to conquer Darsa. After getting off the plane, a passionate black man, Xiao Ji, received him. Dwight was waiting for Xiao Ji's car and wanted to see this place first. On the way, he found a drugstore. Xiao Ji told him that there was a big sale here. Dwight saw that this business was familiar to him, so he decided to start his gang empire from here. He asked Xiao Ji to wait outside the door and walk into the storeroom by himself. He searched the surrounding environment. He found that the security here was only responsible for a security guard, not even a surveillance camera. The staff told him that the crime rate here was very low. Dwight thought that it was because he hadn't come yet. He shouted that he wanted to see the boss here. The boss threw pepper sprays and drove him out. Dwight seemed calm, but his heart had already been exposed. He went out and picked up Xiao Ji's thermos. When he returned to the store again, everyone realized that he was a bad person. Dwight brought the boss to the office. He checked the water flow of the store. As expected, the goods here are still a violent industry. The many years of black traffic made Dwight directly analyze the location of the safe. The boss was forced to open the safe. As expected, there were 500,000 yuan in cash. However, Dwight was not a robber. He just took out 100,000 yuan and decided to come here to collect protection money on a regular basis. The first source of income was so easily obtained. Then, Dwight took the first little brother with this money. He gave the driver Xiao Ji a sum of money and asked him to buy himself a new Lincoln Carrier. And he hired him as his driver at a high price. The next day, Xiao Ji drove a broken car here. Xiao Ji was wrong. It turned out that the boss of the car shop was poisoned. He accused Xiao Ji of being a drug dealer and refused to sell the car to him. How could Dwight let his subordinates be bullied? He rushed directly to the boss's office and showed him the consequences of being cruel. After being beaten, the boss was not angry at all. He let Dwight buy the car at a very low price. Xiao Ji was directly conquered by the man in front of him. The two went to the mall to buy a new suit. Then they went back to the pharmacy to continue collecting protection money. Dwight also told the pharmacy boss how to wash the money so that the money could be safely kept. At night, Dwight came to the bar to relax. A cowboy harassed a female customer with alcohol. This behavior made him very ashamed. He walked around and shook off the drunk man. He was dressed in a handsome suit and did such a gentleman's behavior. A woman was interested in him. They had a very pleasant chat. They talked back to the hotel without knowing it. Then they had a deep communication. Dwight felt that he was a little rusty and his skills were not as good as before. However, the woman was very satisfied. In her impression, a 55-year-old man with such a strong figure is already quite perfect. However, Dwight was honest with her. He claimed that he was already 75 years old. Hearing this huge age gap, the woman regretted her impulsive behavior just now. She was not a casual woman. She was getting a divorce. She just wanted to find an exit. However, Dwight did not expect that the woman was actually a police officer. The next day, the woman returned to the police station to work. Last time, she told everyone that a newly released gang leader had come to the local area to prepare for the second spring of his career. The woman looked at the photo on the screen and was stunned. This is not the man who spent the night with himself last night. At this time, Dwight stood by the window and looked at the whole city. In his heart, he planned his revenge plan. In the beginning, the former gang leader was imprisoned for 25 years to protect his boss. After being released from prison, he was killed. Not only did he not get a good reward, but he was also sent to Tulsa, an uninhabited place, to commit suicide. However, the 75-year-old Dwight was getting more and more brave. He built a gang empire of his own and settled down temporarily. Finally, he found the address where his daughter had not been seen for many years. He wanted to send a gift to his daughter, but he was told by the courier that he could only use the credit card to pay for it. Dwight was very worried about this. The world of the current gang king did not exist. And the strange phenomenon was not only this, he was at a crossroad without a car. A figure always scared him to break the red light. Dwight looked at the smart signal lamp on his head. He had been waiting for 25 years. Now no one can stop him. So he passed the road carelessly. He then passed a square and saw a pair of mothers and sons in front of him. At this time, the guard next to him told him that this was the center of the universe. As long as people stand in the middle of the circle, they can't hear the people in the movie talking. Dwight naturally did not believe it. Unexpectedly, he stood up and wanted to try it. At this time, a white horse appeared in the distance. Dwight asked the guard loudly why there was a horse here. The guard ignored him at all. Then he walked out of the circle and the guard talked to him. Dwight thought it was a little trick of the other party. He paid $20 to the guard. However, the other party was a dignified person. He ate only his own food. He never accepted other people's food. He left Dwight awkwardly standing still. Dwight told his driver Xiaohei to help him get a credit card. Xiaohei said that there was no bank willing to guarantee for Dwight's identity, but he could get a credit card. All he had to do was save money. In order to have money in the card, they came to the pharmacy again to collect insurance payment. The boss of the pharmacy did not come to send money for free, but did not see any benefits. Dwight asked him to help him meet the horse's supplier. At that time, he would give him the corresponding benefits. Now there are people in the county office, but there was a problem when he got the card. Dwight's identity has been expired for 20 years. He has neither passport nor driver's license. He could not get a credit card. This made him very angry. This is why people break the law, because they make everything legitimate so friggin' complicated. Old man to old man. Dwight had to go to get a new driver's license. Although he was already an old driver, the competition session did not work. The overbearing Dwight went straight to the person next to him. When he was taking a picture, he also forced the reflection to move to the side. The many years of gang life made him a muscle memory. "Sir, what are you doing?" After the competition, there was a road test. The staff told him to line up for a month. Dwight immediately went to pay a small fee. It looks like there's an opening early next week. Dwight finally had his own bank card account. But as soon as he walked out of the bank, he received a call from the gang leader, Chi. It turned out that the previous round in New York broke the gang leader's chin. They are all brothers. Chi can only appear as a mediator. They asked Dwight to compensate 100,000 yuan for medical expenses. Dwight agreed directly. "All right, I'll send him something. But if he heard a ticket, don't open it."